Hey there, Emmanuel here from WebDevFuel, and welcome back to this series where you're going to learn exactly how to build a website with Astro, TailwindCSS and React. Now in this particular video we're going to go over how to create offers for your website, and more specifically how to create taxonomies that you can easily dynamically link between your posts and those taxonomies, and even between those taxonomies. And what I mean by this is that you won't have to manually go ahead and define, for example, the name of your offer, the description, or even the avatar. You can simply go ahead, create a file for your offer, and then be able to easily define what the offer slug is inside of your post, and then the post is going to display all of the correct information about that particular offer. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and create files for our offer. So we're going to go ahead and create a markdown file for each one of our offers, and then inside of that markdown file we'll have our front matter information that we can again go ahead, grab and use it to display the information about a particular offer. So the first thing we need to do is to go ahead in here and create a new taxonomies folder in this case, and then inside of this folder let's also go ahead and create a new folder which we'll call offers. And now inside of this folder we want to add all of our offers markdown files, so we can again go ahead, import and show that particular offer information. So let's go ahead and create two different offers. Let's say for example in here emmanueltourist.md, and then let's also go ahead and create johndoe.md. And let's go ahead and open one of these offer files. And just like I said, inside here of our front matter we want to go ahead and add all of the information that we know about our offers. So in this case the name is going to be Emmanuel Tourist, and the slug is going to be usually similar to our file name. Now you can go ahead and define a custom slug in here, but to keep this simple you usually want to have it be the same thing as your file name. And then let's also go ahead and define an avatar, and let's go ahead and type in here emmanueltourist.jpg. And finally we need to go ahead and add in here some kind of information about our offer, which usually is the description of the offer. Now we could also go ahead and add a bunch of different stuff in here, so let's say links to social media pages, all of that kind of stuff, but to keep this simple we'll leave it like this. And now go ahead and add a description in here. So to add a description, let's go ahead and use here a lorem ipsum generator, and after generating we can simply go ahead, copy this block of text and then paste it in here, and now we have in here a description of our offer. Now with this done, let's go ahead and copy here all of this information. Let's go ahead and leave the description the same for this John Doe offer, and then let's just go ahead and change this stuff right here. And now we have in here a John Doe offer with the name John Doe, then the slug John Doe, again similar here to our markdown file, and finally an avatar image which I'm going to go ahead and upload later here to the public folder. And because this is an absolute path, this is going to again go ahead and look here inside of our public folder. So if you wanted, you could go ahead and do something like offers and then add in here all of your offers images, but to keep this simple I'm going to simply go ahead and again later upload two different pictures with here emmanueltourist.jpg and then johndoe.jpg. And again the cool thing is that we won't have to specify or even remember which file we have with our offers avatar images. We can simply go ahead and define here our slug that we want our offer to be, and then we can simply create all of the logic that is going to display the name, the avatar, even the description, whatever information we may need in a particular page or post. Okay, so now the next step is for us to go ahead and create a page that is going to show us our offer information once we go ahead and click on a link that is going to link to the offers page. So in order to accomplish that, let's go ahead and open in here our pages folder, And then let's go ahead and create in here an offer folder, which means that this is going to be the path to our offers information. And then in here, let's go ahead and do the following. So you want to add in here this bracket and then ... and then offer. Then we need to go ahead and close here the bracket and then say here .astro. And what this means is that we're going to go ahead and pass in here information that tells what the particular offer is. So when we go ahead and do something like, let's say that we go to localhost 3000, for example, and then we go to offer and then Emmanuel Tourist, this is going to go ahead and pass this in here, and we can then go ahead and grab here the information, in this case about Emmanuel, or if we wanted about John Doe. So let's go ahead and open this file, and let's start by doing a couple of things. So in order to add JavaScript here to our .astro file, we want to add these dashes in here, so 3 dashes on the top and then 3 dashes on the bottom, similar to what happens here inside of Markdown. But in here we can actually go ahead and define JavaScript, and then we can go ahead and grab all of the information down here inside of the HTML template. So first let's start by importing our base layout. So let's go ahead and import here layout from, and then from our layouts, and we want to use here layout.astro. And then let's go ahead and define our getStaticPaths function. So what it essentially means is that we want to have a function. So let's just go ahead and take a look here at Astro's documentation so you can better understand here what's happening. And let's go ahead and search here for getStaticPaths. And what this essentially means is that we're going to go ahead and export this asynchronous function, which needs to be called getStaticPaths. And then in here, we're going to go ahead and pass in here the params, and inside of the params object, we can go ahead and pass the parameter that we want to be matched here against this thing. So because this is called offer, we need to go ahead and pass in here an offer key and then the information about the offer. So in this case, the slug. And then we can also optionally pass in here our props with all of the information about our offer. So let's go ahead and move back here to our offer page. And then we need to start by exporting here our asynchronous function. And again, this one is called getStaticPaths. And then let's start by, first of all, grabbing our offers. So we need to go ahead and await this part because this needs to go ahead and read the files, and then we get the information back. And then we're going to go ahead and use here this glob method that Astro provides us, which allows us to go ahead and read our files, and then it also goes ahead and parses all of this markdown automatically for us. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and pass in here the following. So we need to go to directories down, and then we need to go ahead and pass in here again taxonomies, and then offers, and then you need to pass in here an asterisk.md. And what this essentially means is that this is going to go ahead and look for all of the offers and grab all of the information about our offers. So in this case, if we go back, this is going to go ahead and give us back a map that we can go ahead and iterate over with, in this case, the information about Emmanuel Tourist and then John Doe. And if we try to type inside of our browser anything that is not matching any one of these files, this is going to give us an error. So let's say that we want to go ahead and type in here again offer Emmanuel Tourist. This is going to work. If we try to, for example, pass in here John Doe, this is also going to work. But if we had something like another offer, this would be able to find the offer, so it would simply go ahead and give us back a 404 error. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and delete this part, and now let's go ahead and return our offers information. So we want to return here, so not returns, only return. And then we want to go ahead and return here from map. So we want to essentially loop over all of our offers, and then we want to return here this structure just like Astro wants us to give back to it. So it knows again essentially what the information is about each of the offers, and if it matches the information, and then again also the props, so it knows exactly what the information about the offer is. So let's go ahead and keep it like this to make it simpler. So we are essentially returning in here an object, and then again we have in here the params. which is going to be offer, and then here offer.frontmatter.slug. And then we also want to pass in here the props, and we're going to simply go ahead and add in here all of the information about our offer from the front matter. And we'll do that by spreading here our front matter object, which means that all of the keys and values from this front matter object are going to be passed here inside of the props object. And then we also want to go ahead and return in here the content by passing in here offer.content. And now we'll have access in here not only again to the information about the offer for Astro to know exactly if this matches any one of our offers, but we'll also go ahead and pass in here all of the information, so the name, the slug, the avatar, and then also finally the content, which is this part here of our offers information. And then we can simply go ahead and define it as a tag inside of our HTML, so it displays the information about our offer. Now we want to go ahead and grab this information so we can use it inside of our HTML tag. So let's go ahead and do the following. So name, avatar, content, and then finally this equals astro.props. And now we have again access to this. So for this situation, we don't actually want to have in here the slug information because we don't need it for this particular situation. So we only need again the name, the avatar, and then the content. And before we continue, I'm actually going to take some time to add our offers avatars inside of the public folder, and then we can go ahead and add all of the information about our offer. So as you can see, we now have in here two different files, which is emmanueltours.jpg and then johndoe.jpg. And if we go ahead and open, as you can see, this is an image from Unsplash, and this is a picture of me. So we are now ready to go ahead and define in here the page that is going to display all of the information about our offer. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and define in here a title, which will simply go ahead and define as the name of this particular offer. And then let's go ahead and define in here a div tag, which is going to have the following classes. So we need to first of all add in here margin to the right and to the left auto. And then let's go ahead and define in here the max width of the screen as MD, and then margin top of 24. And then in here we want to add the following. Let's start by also adding in here a p tag, which will have the class of text gray 700. And then let's simply say about the offer. So we know that this page displays information about a particular offer. Then below this we want to go ahead and add another div tag with the following classes. So we want to flex this, and then we want the items to be centered, and we want to have a space between these items of 2.5, and finally it will have a margin at the top of 2, so it spaces out a bit between here the about the offer text. And then in here we want to go ahead and add our offer avatar. So let's go ahead and define an image in here, and we can actually self-close this tag. And then the source is going to simply be avatar. Now again, because we are grabbing this here from our markdown file, we can simply go ahead, pass this information here, and it automatically knows exactly what the information is. Now the alt here attribute, let's say for example image or a avatar of, and then let's go ahead and pass in here the name of our offer. And finally, let's go ahead and define here a class which is going to be of width 10, the height same thing, and then it is going to be rounded full, which means that this is going to be a circle. And finally, we'll set this as object fit cover in order to make sure that if, for example, our offer avatar is not perfectly square, so if this image that we pass in here, it will show up as square, so it is simply going to cover this entire area, which in this case is again is a square area because the width is 10 and the height is also 10, and it is going to be rounded. But to ensure that this looks good, we need to pass also this in here. And finally, let's go ahead and add our offer name to an h1 tag, with the class of text for Excel. So this is bigger than the rest of the text on our page. And then the text here is going to be blue 700, and finally the font is going to be bold. And in here we can simply go ahead and pass in here our offer information. Now, just to ensure that this is working, let's take a look here at our browser, and let's go ahead and open in here offer, for example, John Doe. And as you can see, it now says here about the offer. We have in here our picture of our offer and also its name. And here the title of this page is also John Doe. Now, to make sure that this looks a bit better, let's say about the offer and add in here a line like that, and then add in here the name, which I think looks a bit better. So as you can see, we now have the information about our offer. And if I went ahead and navigated here to manual tours, as you can see, same thing about the offer and then the avatar and also the name. So finally, we want to go ahead and add our content. So let's go ahead and simply add in here a new div tag with the class of margin top 2.5. And in here, we can simply use this content as a tag. So instead of passing like this, which you usually do when we want to grab some type of information, we can simply use this as a tag just like that, because this is going to come from our file as an HTML tag that we can actually go ahead and use. So if we go ahead now and save this, as you can see, if we navigate back here to our page, we have in here the information about our offer and also the same thing on this offer. So if we move back to a different offer, the information also changes. And just to ensure that this is all working correctly, let's just go ahead and change here the information about John Doe. So this is different from the manual tourist offer. And now if I go ahead and refresh, as you can see, this now changes and it is all dynamically linked without us having to do any extra work or manually insert this information about our offers. And finally, we want to display our offer information inside of our posts. So in order to accomplish this, we want to first of all go ahead and navigate to our post layout. And then in here inside of our post layout, we want to be able to essentially display the information that is the information about the current offer that offered that particular post. So if you go ahead and navigate here back, let's say to our blog, and then we navigate here to a particular post, as you can see at the moment we simply have in here web dev fuel, and we cannot click in here. We don't have any type of information that is useful about who offered this particular post, and that's exactly what we want now to accomplish. And before we continue, I actually forgot to add the types about our offer, so let's go ahead and do that. So here inside of our source folder, let's go ahead and create a new types.ts file, and then let's go ahead and open it, and let's go ahead and export a type which we'll call offer. And then this type is going to have the following fields. First, we need to pass in here our slug, which is a string. Then we also need to go ahead and pass in here the name, the avatar, and finally we need to go ahead and pass in here our content, which is of type Astro component factory. So we can simply go ahead and import this automatically, but if it doesn't import automatically for you, we need to import here type and then from Astro this runtime and server. And now before we continue, let's just go ahead and define this in here, which I actually again forgot about. So we can simply pass in here our offer, and then let's go ahead and import here type offer from, and then let's go ahead and look here at our types file. So now what this essentially means is that we are also using TypeScript in order to ensure that all of these values exist. So let's say that in here we wanted to pass, let's say not slug, so something that doesn't exist. This would go ahead and complain and say that the property not slug does not exist on type offer. But if we go ahead and actually just pass in here the dot, as you can see, it automatically tells us that we can go ahead and use the name, slug, avatar, and also the content. So let's go ahead and pass in here this. And then we also want to go ahead and pass in here this as offer. So again, if we wanted to pass in here something else that doesn't exist, this would go ahead and complain and say that the property something does not exist on offer. And if we wanted to, for example, let's say that we want to delete in here the avatar, we can simply pass in here AV, and then this would autocomplete with avatar because it knows that it exists, which makes it much easier for you when you want to go ahead and, for example, use these taxonomies inside of different parts of your website to know exactly what you can use and what you cannot use without having to remember it or even go ahead and look it up. So now let's go back here to our post layout and defining here our offer. So let's start by first of all defining an offer as an empty object, and then let's go ahead and also tell here TypeScript that this is an offer, and then let's go ahead and define a function that is going to allow us to grab our current offer. So let's call this one, for example, getOffer, and then in here what we essentially want to do is we want to grab all of our offers from our taxonomies and then offer folder, and then we want to look up the particular offer for the page that is being visited so we can display the particular information that we want to show. So again, let's start by going ahead and defining our offers. We need to again go ahead and await this, and now we can actually go ahead and pass in here our offer type because it is automatically going to be imported. Also make sure that you add in here type before your type, and then let's go ahead and import this from taxonomies, and then again offers, and finally you need to add an asterisk.md. So at this point we have access to all of our offers, but again, because we only want to display the information about a particular offer that is going to come from our post markdown file, we need to actually go ahead and only filter to one. So in order to do that, we're going to define in here, so let's say offer equals, because we already defined in here this as mutable, so we can go ahead and simply mutate here the original value. And then in here we're going to return offers.find, again because you only want to find one particular item and then stop looking for it. And then let's go ahead and say that if a.frontmatter.slug equals frontmatter.slug. So again, we have in here our information about the front matter. Then we want to go ahead and return it. And we also need to go ahead and do the following. So we now need to ensure that this exists. So we need to go ahead and pass in here a question mark and then a dot. And if it exists, we need to pass in here the front matter value that we have access here from our offers. So let's say that we wanted to do something like offers and then grab the first index. As you can see, after we grab it, we have access in here again to the front matter, raw content, and all of that kind of stuff. And what this essentially means is the same thing. So we are going to go ahead and look up an offer based on the slug, and if it matches, then we need to go ahead and grab, and if not, we can simply go ahead and define this as again an empty object as offer. And finally, in order to ensure that this function runs, let's simply go ahead and run it here on the bottom. And now at this point, each time that we go ahead and process this entire post layout template, we're going to go ahead and have access if it matches and if it exists to all the information about our offer. So now, because we want to go ahead and be able to click here on this information and then be able to link it to a particular offer, let's go ahead and replace this with an A tag, because this is where the information about the offer is displayed. And then we want to pass in here an href, which is going to be offer and then offer.slug. And again, because we are using TypeScript, as you just saw, it automatically lets us know that we have access in here to our slug. And again, because when we click in here, we want to be directed here to localhost 3000 and then offer, and then for example John Doe, we need to pass in here the exact same structure. Now, before we continue, let's actually go ahead and edit in here our post, and let's actually not this one, this is the image. So let's go ahead and close this thing, and then let's go ahead and look here at our posts. which we have 4 different posts. And if you go ahead and look in here, at the moment we still only have offer web dev fuel. Now, like I said, we need to go in here and pass our slug. So let's say that this offer is John Doe. Then let's say the second post is going to be Emmanuel Tourist. And then let's say the third post is going to be again John Doe. And finally, let's go ahead and also edit this. And like I said, this is what I meant when I said that this is going to be dynamically linked. So I only need to pass in here the slug. I only need to know exactly what the slug is, and then the information is going to be automatically passed in here based on that slug. So now if we go ahead and take a look at our website, as you can see at the moment it says in here Emmanuel Tourist, and at the moment actually this is not showing any kind of offer. As you can see there on the left bottom, it says offer and then undefined, and that's because we probably have some kind of mistake around here. So let's just take a look. So we have in here, we are grabbing our offers, and then we are going to go ahead and match. So let's just say if, let's just see if we have any information about our offers. So we are going to go ahead and get, as you can see, an array, which means that this part is all correct. And in here, yeah, we need to pass, instead of passing in here frontmatter.slug, we need to pass offer again, because if you look in here, the slug is what you use to define inside of our offer markdown file, but inside of our post we go ahead and define here the key as offer, and for that reason we need to match here a.frontmatter.slug with frontmatter.offer. And now if we go ahead and save, as you can see, we should be able to see, as you can see again in the left corner on the bottom, an offer and then Emmanuel Tourist. And if I go ahead and click here, as you can see, it automatically navigates to the correct offer. Now let's also go ahead and change in here our offer name. So let's go ahead and delete their frontmatter.offer and add offer.name. And then as you can see, it shows in here. And to make this look a bit better, let's also say on hover, the text is going to be blue 700. And let's also go ahead and group this and say that each time that the group is hovered, so let's say group hover, let's also define this as text blue 700. Okay, so now as you can see, this looks a bit better, and I actually think we did need this part. Yeah, so as you can see now, each time that we go ahead and hover over this, we also get in here a blue text, which means that we can go ahead and click on it. And finally, to ensure that we are not opening this page on the same tab, let's also go ahead and ensure that this opens on a new tab, and we now have the information about our offer dynamically linked inside of our Astro website. Now if you want to, you could also go ahead and add, let's say in here, a box that said about the offer, and then add all of this information down there. But to keep this simple, we'll leave it as it is, because you already understand now exactly how not only to grab in here information inside a particular post, but you also know exactly how to grab here the content. So you could simply go ahead and pass in there the content as well, and then you would have all that content available to you here inside of the layout. So let's go ahead and see in here. So if you wanted to, instead of only passing in here that front matter, you could also go ahead and do something similar like we did in here, and you could simply go ahead and spread here the front matter information and then also pass in there the content. So you could go ahead and display the description about our offer, or again you can use this exact same structure in order to apply it to a tag or even a category or any kind of taxonomies that you wish. Now in the next video, which is going to be the last one of this series, we're finally going to go over how to deploy this website to an Ubuntu server. So if that sounds cool, stay tuned, because in the next video, which I'll be releasing in the next few days, I'm going to go over exactly how to go ahead and deploy this website, and you'll see that it is actually very easy to get it live in a matter of, let's say, half an hour to an hour, you can have your website live using an Ubuntu server. So if you liked this video, let me know in the comments exactly what you liked about it, leave a like below, and also subscribe to get notified of future content.